When Nina left the piazza to join her father, the Count's intention had been to settle the check, proceed to the Boyarsky for an herb-encrusted lamb chop, and then retire to his study with a glass of port to await the chime of 12. But as the accordion player launched into a second carol, the Count found himself turning his attention to the neighbouring table, where a young man seemed to be in the earliest stages of romantic discovery. In some lecture hall, this lad with a hint of a moustache had presumably admired his fellow student for the sharpness of her intellect and the seriousness of her mien. Eventually, he had worked up the nerve to invite her out, perhaps under the pretence of discussing some matter of ideological interest. And now, here she was, sitting before him in the piazza, looking about the room without a smile on her face or a word on her lips. Attempting to break the silence, the lad remarked on the upcoming conference to unify the Soviet republics, a reasonable gambit given her apparent intensity. Sure enough, the young lady had views on the subject, but as she voiced her opinion on the Trans-Caucasus question, the tenor of the conversation turned decidedly technical. What's more, the young man, having adopted an expression as serious as hers, was clearly out of his depth. Were he to venture his own opinion now, he would almost certainly be revealed as a poser, as one who was inadequately informed on the crucial issues of the day. From there, the evening could only get worse, and he would end up dragging his hopes behind him in the manner of the chastened child who drags his stuffed bear thumping up the stairs. But just as the young lady was inviting him to share his thoughts on the matter, the accordion player began a little number with a Spanish flair. It must have struck a chord, because she interrupted herself in order to look at the musician and wonder aloud where that melody was from. "It is from the Nutcracker," the young man responded without a thought. "The Nutcracker," she repeated. Given the prevailing sobriety of her expression, it was unclear what she thought of this music from another era. As such, many a veteran would have counselled the young man to proceed with caution, to wait and hear what associations the music held for her. Instead, he acted, and he acted boldly. "When I was a boy, my grandmother took me every year." The young lady turned back from the musician to face her companion. "I suppose some think the music sentimental," he continued, "but I never fail to attend the ballet when it is performed in December, even if it means attending alone." "Well done, lad." The expression on the girl's face softened noticeably, and her eyes displayed a hint of interest that here was an unexpected aspect of her new acquaintance, something pure and heartfelt and unapologetic. Her lips parted as she prepared to ask a question. "Are you ready to order?" It was the bishop, leaning over their table. "Of course they are not ready to order," the Count wished to shout, "as any fool can see." If the young man were wise, he would send the bishop packing and ask the young lady to go on with her question. Instead, he dutifully picked up the menu. Perhaps he imagined that the perfect dish would leap off the page and identify itself by name. But for a hopeful young man trying to impress a serious young woman, the menu of the piazza was as perilous as the Straits of Messina. On the left was a scylla of lower-priced dishes that could suggest a penny-pinching lack of flair. And on the right was a Charybdis of delicacies that could empty one's pockets while painting one pretentious. The young man's gaze drifted back and forth between these opposing hazards, but in a stroke of genius, he ordered the Latvian stew.